COVID numbers remain high, just as the health unit predicted. Today, 9 more people died of COVID-19, the most Windsor Essex has seen from the virus since the start of the pandemic.
How you doing, everyone? It's Santa Claus from Windsor. I'm here talking to Chris.
We somehow found a way to talk to the big man himself on a very busy day. Santa in Windsor with a big night ahead of him. Quick look at what Old St. Nick's going to be dealing with tonight. You can see some clouds up there. Snowflakes might fall. Chilly, a -8 right now with the wind chill. Nick Sirkovich will join us with the full forecast tonight. I'm Chris Ensing. Thanks for joining us. For 11 days in a row now, Windsor Essex has seen triple-digit increases in the COVID-19 case count. 141 more people with COVID-19 today, according to the health unit. They said those high numbers are going to continue for at least a few more days. And today, on Christmas Eve, the highest number of deaths reported in a day during the pandemic locally. 9 people have died. In total, the region has 114 deaths. It's hard to capture. Dealing with this kind of loss is something that hospital chaplain Paul Sherrill has never seen before. Family aren't able to be in the room as loved ones die. He says not having that as part of their goodbye can weigh heavily.
This is totally new. The endlessness of it, the always thinking that you're going to run across something more. Working long distance with families is hard because they get on the phone and they kind of cry it out a little bit. They're hurting a lot. They're angry. They're angry at everything. The sickness. They're angry at the loss and the terrible disadvantage they're at. So you have to help them walk through that, coach them way through it.
And today we learned Hotel-Dieu Grace Healthcare is taking over responsibilities at the village at St. Clair, essentially taking control of a long-term care home dealing with the region's largest COVID outbreak. CBC's Tamina Aziz has been following this story closely. Tamina, how are people reacting to that move?
Chris, the people that I spoke with are happy to see the hospital taking on a bigger role and providing that extra help, but question the timing of it. We know that families and the workers' union have been demanding action since last week, noting that staffing was low and demanding that the government take control of the home. A Michigan woman whose mother is a resident at the village at St. Clair thinks the move comes a little late.
I think that everybody knew that there was going to be this second wave. And I think the preparation for the second wave was just not, it was just not realistic, that people just thought, okay, it might not happen to us, the border's closed, this and that. As long as people are still trying to do normal living, then of course seniors and the vulnerable population is going to be affected. So I think they should have had a strategy a little bit more sooner.
On top of the extra staffing, she says she wants more transparency and coordination between community partners. She says she can't truly enjoy Christmas, fearing that her mother might test positive.
It's a difficult time for many who have family in long-term care homes. What's the hospital saying about this move?
The hospital CEO says this partnership with the home is new. She says the hospital is taking the lead in several responsibilities that are shared with the home, including on-site leadership, enhanced oversight related to communications, infection prevention and control and education, resident and family relations, reporting to the public and government, and physician oversight. She says the hospital wants to support the home so it can focus on providing adequate staffing and care for residents, something they've been struggling with since many staff are sick due to COVID.
We have shared responsibility for medical leadership and shared responsibility for patient or resident relations. But we've taken lead on it for now while they focus on the operational responsibilities of staffing and caring for the staffing the home and caring for the residents. That has to be their #1 priority. All the rest of this stuff is stuff that we can take off their backs for them.
Kaffer says the hospital and home made the agreement before the government would implement a mandate. She doesn't know how many staff are sick from the virus, but says the home is getting more help from other agencies. She says the hospital is stretched thin. They've been able to deploy 10 hospital staff over the last few days. As of today, the health unit is reporting 164 cases there. 97 residents and 67 staff members. 12 residents have died from the disease. We reached out to the home for comment, but they didn't respond. Chris.
Thanks, Tamina. The CBC's Tamina Aziz live tonight. One of the longest serving nurses at Windsor Regional Hospital is retiring. She's been on the job for almost 50 years. She's seen a lot, but she never expected how her final year on the job would have transpired. And as the CBC's Sanjay Maru reports, she's got mixed emotions about stepping away from her dream job.
I'm gonna cry. All the wonderful nurses that I've had the pleasure of working with over the years.
As a nurse for almost 50 years, Mary Lou Henderson has truly seen it all. AIDS, SARS, H1N1. But her final year on the job has been like nothing she's ever seen.
This COVID has totally changed the whole healthcare profession because we are so focused on trying to get this virus under control.
Henderson began her training in 1969 at the Old Grace Hospital. Since then, a lot has changed, including the uniform. The last 2 decades of her career have been spent at the Olette campus of Windsor Regional Hospital.
I was like, I got to do something for her so that she, knows she's special, that she knows she's loved, and that she knows she's appreciated.
That message of appreciation came Wednesday with a surprise pickup from a limo, flowers presented by the CEO of Windsor Regional Hospital, and signs of love, signs of a job well done.
She kept saying, I don't deserve this, and we kept saying, yes, you do.
There are so many patients that have touched my heart. To this day, I have families come up to me and reflect that I took care of their loved ones. And for them to remember me is just, it's just special.
Henderson says there were 2 reasons why she chose to step away from her career: to care for her ailing husband and to avoid learning a new computer system that the hospital is introducing next year. But the decision comes with mixed emotions.
I have been very fortunate to work with some of the best nurses. I've been blessed with having a profession that has never been a job to me. It's always been something that I've wanted and something that I was passionate about.
A passion she says she'll continue to love for the rest of her life. Sanjay Maru, CBC News, Windsor.
What a remarkable career. The first shipment carrying doses of the Moderna vaccine are now in Canada 24 hours after it got the green light here. The plane carrying that initial batch arrived in Toronto from Paris. Moderna is the second COVID-19 vaccine to be approved by Health Canada. Now, Canada is expected to receive 168,000 doses from Moderna before the year ends. Ottawa ordered a total of 40 million doses from them. The bulk of it is set to be delivered throughout 2021. A church in South Windsor has been fined under the Reopening Ontario Act. The Harvest Bible Church released a statement saying that they will be closed tonight. The church says they were fined because of a service held last Sunday, which they say observed strict health and safety protocols. A reminder of those protocols here. The health unit posted a release today saying services are limited to a maximum of 10 people. That includes parishioners, officiants, staff, and those that violate the order can face fines from $750 to $100,000. Politicians in Michigan have voted to let trucks carrying hazardous material cross the 90-year-old Ambassador Bridge, something that groups on both sides of the border have long opposed. Now a local MP is raising alarm bells. Jacob Barker has more.
The Michigan State Legislature passed a bill to help people of the state deal with COVID-19. It was passed last Friday. In that bill, an addition slipped in by Republican senators, allowing highly flammable and corrosive materials to flow across the border using the Ambassador Bridge. NDP MP Brian Massey says rules have been in place since 1929 to stop this from happening.
It's not only just about the hazardous materials and the trucks and the toxicity going on the bridge and the vulnerability with the aged infrastructure that can't cope with spills, fires, or turnovers. It's also in our neighborhoods. We're reintroducing more trucks to city streets, or we're reintroducing more dangers to ordinary citizens.
Trucks containing hazardous goods are currently shipped across on a ferry which meets proper standards. The Ambassador Bridge Company has made repeated attempts over the years to permit hazardous materials to cross the bridge. Massey is calling on Transport Minister Marc Garneau to make sure that doesn't happen.
Unfortunately, there is a gap in some of our laws with regards to the movement of dangerous materials and hazardous goods. Federally, there are some laws under the International Bridge and Tunnel Act. I've asked for that to be reviewed.
Michigan State Senator Stephanie Chang, who represents areas near the bridge, is mounting a similar effort on the American side. She says those who brought the bill forward relied on an old and incomplete report, and it likely is not legal.
Our first priority right now is really to work with the governor's office to ensure that this language does not get enforced. And then one of the things that is very disappointing and unfortunately not that surprising is that, the proponents of this language appear to not have actually consulted with the Canadians on this at all.
Minister Garneau's office responded to Massey today saying it will make it a priority to look into what consequences the change on the American side of the border could have on our transportation system. The company did not directly respond to our questions today, but rather forwarded us to its 146-page submission to the Michigan Department of Transportation. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Windsor.
Every year, there's a group of volunteers who collect winter clothing to donate to migrant workers. They're seeing more help this year, likely due to the increase focused on farm workers during the pandemic. Tamina Aziz now on The Drive.
We are a very generous community.
When Elizabeth Haub made a social media call asking for winter clothing donations for migrant farm workers, she had an overwhelming response.
Because I've been doing this work for so long, it's just recently where I've seen such a huge, outpour of support for migrant workers. And I think it's because they see what's happening.
In the past, she would pick up donations from common areas, but due to the pandemic, people are dropping off their donations at her house. She says part of the reason there's a growing interest to help could be that more people are aware of them.
It's not easy with the language barriers. And when you see inequity, I think everybody would stop and help, right?
More than 1,200 farm workers contracted COVID-19 in Windsor, Essex since the virus began. 2 in the region died from it. Claudette Ferguson saw this and wanted to help. She donated to the Toronto chapter.
But I've always noticed that they were treated less than. And I thought that how sad. They're the ones that take care of our food.
She says farm workers may not be used to the cold temperatures in Canada, and she's grateful to see the community helping. Haas says her group continues to collect on an ongoing basis. Tamina Aziz, CBC News, Windsor.
It's Christmas Eve, a busy time for the big guy up north, but ahead of Santa's big night visiting homes around the world, he still found a moment to spread a little holiday joy right here in Windsor. The belt, the beard, that jolly laugh.
How you doing, gang? Merry Christmas!
Old St. Nick bringing joy and big smiles on a week when Windsor might need it the most.
We haven't had much this year to be cheerful about, so I'm just trying to put a little bit back into the world.
It's a simple setup, a chair for him to sit in side by side with his special someone.
And maybe a carrot for my reindeer?
Mrs. Claus and Santa, filling a cul-de-sac in Riverside with the magic of the North Pole. It's a break from everything. For kids, yes, but look in the eyes of those who are driving. Everyone needs a little reminder of hope this year, a tough one, even for the big guy.
We're doing okay. We feel it too. It's not the same, but we're doing our best.
And his best, it brings us moments like these.
And are you going to leave anything out for Santa? Some cookies and milk, maybe? All right. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye. I'm glad you come to see Santa this morning. I love it. And don't forget to leave maybe a carrot out or some feed for my deer. And are you going to make sure you leave some cookies and milk out for Santa? And some candy canes for the elves? Yeah. Oh, great. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Have a nice day, guys. Bye-bye. Merry Christmas. Remember, Santa loves you guys. And have a Merry Christmas and a safe Christmas, okay? All right, say bye, Santa. Bye-bye. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
That probably is the best gift you could get. To see those children's faces through a window. It's probably the nicest thing you could ever have as a gift to your heart.
But Santa can't spend all day sitting around. He's got a sleigh to pack and houses to visit. Before he goes, one final Christmas wish, a send-off to the ones keeping our community safe, the bright lights during a dark year.
Your family knows how much you've done. You're the heroes of the world. You keep everything going. Hopefully, you know that we all love you and that we appreciate everything that's done by all the workers on the front lines. I'm sure one day soon we'll be able to have a big get together and it'll be like Christmas every day once that happens. Merry Christmas to Windsor! Santa loves you guys. Have a great 2021. I know it's going to be better.
If Santa says it, you know you want to believe it. A live look outside now at downtown Windsor. We're going to check in with Nick Sirkovich to see the weather ahead. But first, we showed you light displays across Canada, and tonight viewers sent us photos of how they decorated their homes here in Windsor, Essex. Christmas Eve. This year different than the rest, but one thing we're able to continue to count on is tracking Santa's journey across the world. Let's pull up the NORAD Santa tracker there. It's a live look at where he might be. He's out delivering toys to children across the world tonight. More than 4 billion gifts are sitting under his different sleigh that he has there. All those bags you can see, I think you can take a peek at it now, and we can take a peek at where he's hovering over right now. I believe over and around by the Ivory Coast. We will keep checking in with Santa throughout the evening tonight ahead of his journey to Windsor, Essex. And joining us is Nick Cirkovich. Nick, what is Santa going through tonight?
Well, you know what? When he gets to Windsor, actually not much. It's more sort of Eastern Ontario. I don't know if he's going to make it in there. I'm just kidding. If anybody's actually watching from Eastern Ontario, he'll make it to you too. But for the Windsor area, actually out of the watches and warnings, out of the special weather statements as well, most of the active weather off to the east. We saw some rain showers very early on, switching over to some light flurries, and that was pretty much it. 5 a.m. this morning, 8 degrees. 7 a.m. this morning, -1. So it gives you an idea of how quickly those temperatures dropped. It's part of this bigger system that's pushing across. The rainfall now gone, and what we're looking at more is the colder weather in behind it. And it's really the cold that's going to be the story for the Windsor area and surrounding regions. As we move through tonight into tomorrow morning, you're looking at some snowfall just kind of stretching back into sort of the Chatham-Kent area out toward Leamington. Windsor may see a couple centimeters of snow with this, but really just kind of sitting right on the edge. It's not going to be organized snow, but on and off sort of light snow flurries. By tomorrow morning, there is a potential to see locally 2 to 4 centimeters of snow. But again, Windsor really right on the edge. It's more areas eastward that are going to see snowfall accumulating. Then as we head through the afternoon, snow squalls develop, and in the lee of Lake Huron, that's where we're going to see some heavier accumulations. But otherwise, again, on and off light flurries really for the Windsor area. And that's about it in terms of snowfall. Now, winds are going to pick up, though. Gusts as we head through tomorrow morning to about 30, 40 kilometers per hour, up to 50, 60 kilometers per hour at times as we head through Friday night, and that's going to drop the wind chills. You look at the forecast accumulations by tomorrow morning, that's roughly what it looks like. Again, we may see about trace to a few centimeters of snow down in the Windsor area. Best chance is really as we move through Friday, some sort of lingering snowfall that might hit the region. -7 tonight, wind chills down to -14. Heavier snowfall as you move toward the London area. There's a look tomorrow. Locally, 2 to 4 centimeters of snow. I'm kind of being optimistic there, but we might see some of it. Windy conditions, wind chills to -14 at their lowest. A little bit warmer as we head into the weekend. But again, temperature is really the story for Windsor anyway as we head through the next few.
No, absolutely. Something to keep in mind if we head out. Thanks for this, Nick.
You bet.
A bit of a chill, sure, but we are going to show you a bit of sizzle as well. Some of those light shots that have been sent in to us from across Windsor, Essex. The United Kingdom and the European Union have reached a post-Brexit trade deal just a week before the deadline. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson made the announcement today.
So I'm very pleased to tell you this afternoon that we have completed the biggest trade deal yet, worth £660 billion a year, a comprehensive Canada-style free trade deal.
That agreement follows months of disagreement over fishing rights and future business regulations. The UK and the EU are forming two separate markets and ending free movement of people between them. Today's announcement means the UK won't leave the trading bloc on the 31st without a deal. Critics were warning that a no-deal Brexit would have been an economic and logistical nightmare. The UK voted to leave the union back in 2016. Now, we've shown you some of our own Clark Griswolds throughout the show. Now we're going to take you over to Tecumseh. This year, more than 100 homes are taking part in the very first Holiday Lights program. People were asked to decorate their houses and then check out some other homes as a way to celebrate Christmas safely. CBC's Tamina Aziz has the story.
Tecumseh looks a little brighter this time of year, in part because of the program, as people are trying to find a way to celebrate the season safely. It took the Quigg family about a week to get their house ready.
We wanted to go a little extra big this year just because of the situation that we're in, obviously, with everything going on. Just something for people to be able to come out and see.
Yeah, we have people stopping all the time.
Yeah.
Morning, before school, kids will come, they walk through. He named it Candy Cane Alley, so you'll walk through the candy canes, look at the inflatables, come out here. So yeah, a lot of people stopping.
More people seem to be out looking at the light show.
We see lots of traffic up and down our street, you know, cars that are going slower, and you can tell that families really are enjoying the lights.
Shelley Marrow decorated early this year. She put her lights in November.
And I was very excited when I started to see everybody else follow suit and decorate, and I love seeing the lights. It looks beautiful.
Tecumseh Mayor Gary McNamara is pleased with the program's success. He says some people have gone over the top.
You know, we've got registered over 150 homes. But I must say, the community itself, whether they engaged into the competition or not, this is probably, I'd say, one of the years where we've seen a lot more lights.
He wants to bring the program back next year, in addition to the other Christmas celebrations that were canceled this year due to the pandemic. Tamina Aziz, CBC News, Tecumseh.
That's it for us tonight. Thanks again for watching. I hope you're able to enjoy a break with your family if you're able to get it. We'll be back on Tuesday. A reminder, just try and do things safely over the next little while. Before we leave, we're going to do another check-in here with Santa. Let's take a live look at that NORAD Santa tracker and try and figure out where he's off to today. Again, he is trying to make his way around the world, difficult to do at any time, and he is on his way to Windsor, Essex tonight.